Civ 6 or Civilization 6 is like a trash bag filled with feces. You feel nothing but astonishment after delving deep inside and finding some secrets no one knows about. In the Civilization 6 guide, I'm showing 6 game mechanics that you don't know about. The first tip is a gentle one, as this might be some people's first times discussing the dark arts of Civilization 6, and that tip is stables give a boost to siege units. Now, even though it says right now that the stable does give a 25 production boost to siege units, it wasn't in the game for the longest time, so this one's really meant for people who still haven't caught up after the April update. For those of you who don't know, the encampment has 2 different types of buildings, the barracks and the stables. The barracks gives a 25% experience modifier to melee units like swordsmen, ranged units like archers, anti-cav units like spearmen, meaning that every time they enter any form of combat, they get experience a little bit more, letting them get earlier promotions and becoming monsters a lot quicker. This is really valuable as getting tier 4 promotions turns your units into John Wick, as they can single-handedly win you wars, especially when considering siege and ranged units. Siege units get 1 extra range as a tier 4 promotion, letting them fire all the way from Narnia. They're pretty safe after that, as a teenage boy's lotioned up tissue would provide stiffer resistance than siege units at any stage of the game, meaning having that 1 extra range is immensely valuable. But siege units don't have a barracks bonus, do they? Well, not to worry, maybe the stable can help us out. The stable description used to say that light cavalry units, like a horseman, and heavy units, like your mother, get an experience boost, and it does say that siege gets the bonus as well. So how is this a secret tip, TheCivLifer, you fraud? Are you telling me you don't have Voldemort on speed dial, and this Civilization 6 Dark Arts method was just a myth? Well, no. The reason I included this was before the April update, siege units weren't explicitly stated. They, however, did still get the bonus, so many people, myself included, didn't think siege units got the bonus at all, when in actuality they did. And even now, most people aren't going to read the abilities in a game they've played for years, so to all the late stragglers still coming to grips on how a horse stable can turn your siege artillery into Steph Curry, you're welcome. Now, this doesn't mean siege units are now some sort of monsters you should build every game, as early on they get 1 or 2 shotted by cities easily, so think of this as some great support if you're playing a cavalry-focused Civ that needs siege to deal with walls like Mongolia, Scythia, or even Grand Columbia. The second tip in this guide is a fun one that'll make you feel like the Wolf of Wall Street scamming grandma out of her life savings, and that is war to get your resources back. Now, when trading goods and services, as any civilized country does, Civilization 6 included, you can either give your resource outright or lease it for a certain time frame. In Civ 6, it's 30 turns usually. So if I give a great work, Diplo favor, or a flat amount of gold, that is mine, and no one can take it back from me no matter what happens. However, luxuries and gold per turn, that's different. After 30 turns, you're going to get all the luxuries and gold per turn back. So how do I scam the AI like Al Capone did to the IRS? Simple. Give them what they want, luxuries, gold per turn, whatever, and you take back gold, great works, Diplo favor, anything. Afterwards, you can declare war on them, and all shipment of your leased goods stops immediately, because funding the enemy AI's war effort never really happens in modern human history. But, and here's the kicker, you don't give back the gold. It makes sense because, it's yours, you own it, what are they gonna do, come take it back? You're at war, silly. Come near my city and I'll chop off your willy, Nikola Tesla. This is a high-risk strategy that works really well, especially if the AI is far away from you and has to go through continents or even other civs to get to you. The AI has about as much brain activity as Patrick Star, so they won't think to or try to reach your cities. Now, even if they send 1 or 2 units, that's easily stopped, but the best part is, if you're the one to declare the war, then after 10 turns, unless the AI is like sieging down your cities or whatever, they will always make peace, no matter the difference in military strength, 99% of the time, I'm gonna say. So all you have to do is keep their units on the field, make sure they don't attack your cities in 10 turns, and after the 10 turns are over, you can make peace, keep all your luxuries and gold per turn, and scam the AI out of a small fortune. This disgusting abomination does go against the laws against fraud, so it might be risky trying it against the IRS, which I do not condone, but against Civ VI AI, I'm sure you'll be fine. Be careful of the same happening to you, however. When trading goods, try to trade to allies, friends, or civs super far away from you that are unlikely to declare the war. Because if the AI declares war on you, then that great work you traded for 50 gold per turn, yeah, that's gone. Get scammed, sucker. If I told you you could settle cities 2 tiles away from each other, what would you say? TheCivLifer, that's blasphemous. Everyone knows the limit is 3 cities and you can't change that. Well, there is a 3-tile settler rule in Civilization VI that's true, but there is one specific circumstance in which you can settle cities right beside each other, 2 tiles away, and that is if they are on 2 separate continents and separated by a body of water. Now, I'm not talking about the continent's map mode, I mean actual land masses. I don't know why, but the game bugs out and thinks, oh, you're on 2 different land masses separated by a body of water? That's fine, and they'll let you settle 2 cities nuzzled up together like something out of an adult website. How does this help you, though? Well, to be honest, most of the time it doesn't really. There's really only a couple situations I could see this working for. If you have multiple tiles for a monster district, like let's say there are 2 campus tiles that are really good that are right beside each other, but you only have room to settle 1 more city to get to that campus or something, and you can afford to send a settler there just for that, it might be worth it to get something like another +5 or 6 campus. In most situations, however, you want more tiles around your powerful cities, as more tiles means more yields and district placements, meaning a beefier city. However, there is another strategy that works for this, especially if you're using Eleanor for infinite gold and cities, and that is the city trader strat. Trade your city to any AI, let it rebel back to you, and sell it again. Trading cities, especially ones with lots of resources and a higher population, will net you a huge potential return, just like leaving a like and subscribing will give you a huge net return on life with 27% return on investment on your jawline and an average 123% daily return on your dong. Or breast, I haven't forgotten the 3% female and others. So yeah, let's get to 100,000 by tomorrow. But with trading cities, the problem is a 1 population snow city to the AI gets you nothing as the city is too small and insignificant. Even if you can trade that city, it won't be worth it, as it won't get anything good. But what if you have a high population city to trade? Well, that's also a bad idea most of the time, because those cities have to be one of your core cities in the center of your empire, because if you give a high population border city, then the AI will in all likelihood be able to limit loyalty, and even if they can't, it has a chance of going to another civ, especially if you're in a dark age. So this strategy doesn't work. Why waste our time? Well, when you settle cities 2 tiles away from each other, and you grow that second cities as high as you possibly can, get some resources maybe, and trade it away while not having to worry about the AI keeping it, because despite the fact it's a higher population city, it's still nestled deep within your empire, meaning as long as you can deal with the rebels that come along, the city will just rebel back to you in 5 turns anyway, duping you out of duping them. Since the city is close, and since it's going to be more booty than a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you could just keep trading it off for semi-infinite resources and gold. Situational, sure, but when you get that kind of game, it seems like cheating. The next nut twister of a tip is a quick one. We have the district mechanic. Districts scale in cost in 2 ways. For each district you build, and for each tech/civic you research. So what does this mean? Well, there's a reason districts that took 10 turns in the ancient era still take 10 turns in the modern era, like settlers. This is huge, as strategizing your tech path and your build path is now more important than ever. If you wait until later to build the district, it's going to cost a lot more, as these tech costs can add up. But by placing the district when you can, as soon as you have the population, and then building something else while you wait for the district to become cheaper while you get more production, the district cost is locked. Meaning, even if you research other techs or build different districts, the production cost will stay the same. And you can have it locked in from the ancient era and never build it until the modern era, it will still cost the same amount of production. Meaning, you can essentially save hundreds of turns building districts by just placing them when you hit the population requirement. But this also changes your desired tech path. Researching all of the districts you need should be one of your primary targets at the game's start, as holding off on industrial zones because you have too much else to build and you need other techs to research isn't really a good excuse, because by the time you get the industrial zones, they're going to be a lot more expensive than if you just bum rush them after campuses, place them, and then worked on something else. Because just placing the districts while you have less techs is going to make your future life a lot easier. The only thing you could say against this tip is maybe you end up locking in districts and then decided to go to college afterwards, let's say, and when you came back, you couldn't build commercial hubs to pay for the student loans. This situation sucks almost as much as the joke itself I just made, but the point is to make sure you have your game planned out, as the more districts you end up having to build, the higher the population you need, which gets pretty hard after you reach 7 to 8 population. Before we get to the last mechanic, to confuse the people who left early, comment your favorite color down below, and also as a sacrifice to the almighty algorithm. But barbarians are the disdain of all things holy and dummy thick with 2 C's. Barbs are the worst experience anyone will have in this game. I'd rather lose a last turn win on settler difficulty than have to deal with barbarians, because at least with the former, you can actually play the game without having barbarian mechanized infantry running around in the classical era. Enough exposing my hate boner for barbs. How do you deal with them? Killing the scouts is a temporary fix, as if one scout makes it to the encampment, it's Season 4 of Attack on Titan all over again, and the rumbling starts. But you need to wipe the encampment from existence. The problem? Spearmen fortified for 2 turns on a hill aren't the easiest to take out, especially before discipline, when barbs are the most annoying thing, because again, they unlock the infinite barbarian unit spam strat that the Soviets copied. So how do you get to soften them up? You could spend 7 to 10 turns with one unit bashing its head against the camp at the risk of having another barbarian spawn and killing your weakened warrior. You could send multiple units at the cost of exploration and having to build more units, or, and this third one's the right choice, you can build one slinger. Apparently, rock-throwing slingers are the ops, and the second a fortified spearman catches a whiff of rock, they go berserk. It's like some sort of drug, like amphetamine or some shit. They always leave the encampment, as you can see from the examples. Then, you just move in with your warrior that you have parked right beside the encampment, and you can clear it up. Yup. Even with an adjacent enemy unit, the Civilization VI AI doesn't fail to amaze me, as the garrison units will always leave your encampment as long as they are full health. Even at half health, while they might not chase the slinger, they will still attack the adjacent slinger from my experience, removing their +6 fortified defense bonus. This is huge, as barbarians become a lot easier to deal with, and with the spearmen out of the camp, you can get the archery eureka a lot easier, since the spear is going to be unfortified on preferable terrain and easy pickings. The best part though, if you're going for an early war, bronze working is a key technology to get encampments and to find iron on the map, letting you plan for future settles, or choosing to build a builder or a settler in order to get the iron. But bronze working is the hardest eureka to get in the classical era. 3 barbarians killed is much harder than it seems. Killing scouts usually won't happen too much, as they are faster and a time waster. Fortified units, again, hard to kill. Units out of the camp, still not ideal, as if there are barbs running amok, they probably have reinforcements nearby and were spawned by a scout that got to the camp. And so you need to now take defensive positions, as you're going to be dealt with an onslaught. Moving the spearmen out of the camp lets you kill the spearmen. In a couple turns, another barbarian will spawn, as open camps will spawn other barbs. Kill it with the same strategy or while it is unfortified, and then raid the camp with the Barbarians and Clans game mode to automatically spawn a third unit before taking it out before it can get fortified and pillaging the camp. Boom, you're done. All in all, this strategy should make dealing with barbarians in the early game much easier and more efficient, letting you actually play the game. Click on this video for more content, and leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future content. Before we finish today's video, I want to know exactly what other game mechanics that I might have missed down below in the comments. If you know them, the best one gets pinned or something. I don't know. I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.